Hey guys, how's it going? So Halloween is tomorrow, and I thought I'd do something fun. Today I'm going to be ranking all the Halloween movies in the Halloween film franchise. Halloween is my favorite horror franchise, so I'm really excited to talk about this. I've got some decorations up there, I got some of my movies stacked up, I got my Michael Myers mask right there, and I've got my Michael Myers t-shirt on. Gotta dress for the occasion. Also, this video is going to be containing spoilers, so if you don't know much about the Halloween franchise, fair warning, spoiler alert. Also, this list is just my personal opinion. You may have different opinions on these movies, that's fine. Let me know how you would rank them in the comments. Now, with all that said, let's get started with number 10. Halloween Resurrection. If you ask any Halloween fan what's the worst in the franchise, they'd probably say Halloween Resurrection. And for good reason. Its predecessor, Halloween H2O, put the series back on a good track. But since it made a lot of money, for some reason they thought a sequel was a good idea. The movie revolves around college students staying at Michael Myers' childhood home while filming a live internet horror show. And that alone just sounds like a really dumb idea. I don't know why they went with that. Also, they brought Jamie Lee Curtis's character back, but she only agreed to it if they killed her off in the beginning. So they did. Because of that, the original franchise ended very poorly. It's not what fans wanted, and the movie just shouldn't have been made. H2O should have been the end of the original franchise. But, of course, that didn't happen. Alright, let's move on to number 9. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 divided fans more than the first one did. I do give Rob Zombie credit for not completely copying the original Halloween 2, but at the same time, it just feels too weird for me. The movie revolves around the characters mainly. They're showing how that first night really affected them, which is a really cool idea if the characters weren't so unlikable. I really didn't give a shit about any of the characters in this movie, which is something you need in movies. You need likable characters and characters to relate to, but Laurie Strode is just so bitchy and annoying. Dr. Loomis is an egotistical asshole. I mean, where did that idea come from? The only likable characters are Sheriff Brackett and his daughter Annie, but they're not in the movie for that much, so you really don't have anyone to relate to. One interesting element that I liked about the movie is that Michael and Laurie have similar psychological connections, like their minds kind of think alike. And like I said, it's an interesting idea, but that's about all I'll give the movie. Alright, let's move on to number 8. In 2007, Rob Zombie decided to remake Halloween, even though he said before that he didn't really like remakes. The first half is a prequel. We see how Michael Myers grew up and how he essentially became the serial killer that we know today, while the other half is very rushed and is essentially almost a copy of John Carpenter's original movie. One thing that hurt the movie, at least for me it did, was how much swearing and inappropriate content was in the movie. And it didn't really come off as scary. It came off annoying, and at times it came off funny, which I know it's not supposed to be funny. The movie is watchable, although it's not the kind of watchable where you watch it all the time. It's more like you watch it a couple times around Halloween time, and that's about it. Or whenever it's on TV. Now on to number 7. A lot of Halloween fans like Halloween 5. For me, I just don't care for it that much. Halloween 4 tried setting up Jamie as the new killer, but of course they didn't go with that. They had to bring back Michael. So in the end, Halloween 5 is just Michael after his niece again. Now, I'm not saying I hate Halloween 5. It's just not my favorite out of the franchise. There are parts of the movie that I do like. The ending by far is my favorite. That whole showdown at the Myers house was so well done, and if they would have kept stuff like that throughout the movie, I probably would have liked it a lot more. One thing that I really don't like about Halloween 5 is the Tina character. The most annoying character I have ever seen in a movie. Okay, the most annoying character ever might be exaggerating just a little bit, but she is a very annoying character. What they should have done was killed her character off early and have the Rachel character be in the movie more. The ending of the movie where the guy in the black suit breaks out Michael from the prison is probably one of the best parts of this movie. It does a really good job hooking you and leave you wanting to see more. On to number 6. Halloween 6: The Curse of Michael Myers is one of the most controversial Halloween movies. Fans either like it or they hate it. As for me, it's not my favorite, but I do like it a bit more than Halloween 5. After the events of Part 5, we see that Jamie is pregnant with a daughter, and Michael Myers is the father. But then Jamie dies in the beginning, and now Michael is after the baby she gave birth to. While all that's happening, we find out that Michael is under a curse called the Curse of Thorn, which causes him to kill his entire bloodline of his family. A lot of fans thought the Cult of Thorn was really weird, and while it is weird, I do have to say it is kind of interesting. One thing that happens in the movie is that the Myers house is no longer old and abandoned. It's now bought out by the Strode family. And it's simply stated that anyone who lives in Michael Myers' house is now considered his family. So while he's out trying to kill the baby, he's also trying to kill this whole family. In the end, I actually do prefer the unrated producer's cut a little better, but altogether, both versions are just an okay Halloween movie. Now let's move on to number 5. Halloween 3 confused fans when it came out, because it didn't have Michael Myers in it. Well, it turns out that Halloween was supposed to be an anthology series, a new movie each year centered around the holiday of Halloween. But then a lot of fans turned on it because it didn't have Michael Myers in it. In my personal opinion, it's not that bad. It doesn't really deserve all the hate. This movie is about a doctor who finds out this plan that this toy maker has to sacrifice a bunch of children with this cultic ritual and the Halloween masks that he makes. It's definitely a weird storyline, but when you watch it as a Halloween the Season movie, not Halloween the Michael Myers franchise movie, it's actually a pretty fun movie to watch around Halloween time. I wouldn't say it's the best in the franchise, but I wouldn't say it's the worst one. The acting is a little but other than that, like I said, it's a fun movie to watch around Halloween time, and it doesn't deserve the hate that it gets. Coming in at number 4 is Halloween H2O is definitely one of the best in the franchise. After Halloween 6 was kind of a failure at the box office, the producers decided that they wanted to go back to the original vibe of the original Halloween movie. In Part 4, we found out that Laurie died in a car accident, but in this movie it's an alternate timeline, so they go with the idea that she faked her death and she's now a headmistress of this college. And it isn't long before Michael Myers shows up and starts hunting everyone down. We see that Laurie is still traumatized by that night back in 1978, and then when Michael shows up, she faces him heads on, and the last 20 minutes are fantastic. This movie really should have been the end of the franchise, because it finally has Laurie standing up to Michael, and she cuts off Michael's head in the end. But like I said in the beginning, the H2O made a lot of money, so they went with the idea, oh no, that wasn't Michael Myers that you chopped his head off. It was one of the paramedics, and yeah, complete garbage. Halloween H2O definitely put the series back on a right track, and it would have been a great end to the franchise. But, of course, they didn't do that, which, come on. That was a good ending. You should have left it. Okay, we're down to the top 3, and at number 3 we have Halloween 2 picks up the same night the first movie left off. We see Laurie Strode get taken to a hospital, and of course Michael's not dead, and he's after her again. We get introduced to some new characters, and we find out in this movie that Laurie is actually Michael Myers' younger sister. The whole movie takes place in the hospital, and in my opinion, that's a really cool setting for Michael to chase Laurie and to kill his new victims. One complaint I do have with it, though, is that it's not quite as suspenseful as the first movie was. There is a lot of scary moments, but in the end, it's not really suspenseful. But with that aside, it's actually a really great Halloween movie, and definitely one of the best ones, in my opinion. Also, it would have been a great end to Michael and Laurie and Loomis, but of course that didn't happen. Either way, it's still a really cool ending. On to number 2. The reason Halloween 4 is number 2 on my list is because that was the movie that got me interested in Michael Myers. That was the first Halloween movie I saw, and as soon as I saw it, I was terrified and I wanted to see more. The story is pretty much the same as the original. Michael escapes from a hospital and goes after a member of his family. Although in this one, like I said in H2O, we found out that Laurie Strode died in a car accident, and she gave birth to a daughter named Jamie, who becomes his next victim. The same complaint I have is the same complaint I have with Halloween 2. It's not as suspenseful as the original, but it is still fun. It's a really fun Halloween movie. Danielle Harris plays Jamie in this movie, and for a kid actress, she was really good in this movie. A lot of kid actresses you don't like at all. but she was really likable for her character, and she was probably the best actress in the movie. Something that Halloween fans tend to complain about with this movie is the mask that Michael Myers wears. The mask is a different look than the first two movies, but in all honesty, it doesn't bother me as much as other Halloween fans. With all that said, though, I really like Halloween 4, and for me, it's number 2 on my list. Alright, you guys know what number 1 is, I know what number 1 is, so let's just get on with it. The original Halloween is by far the best one in the franchise. It really started the slasher genre and created a bunch of imitators in the 80s. Any slasher movie you see now is either inspired or pretty much a ripoff of Halloween. It's suspenseful, has great characters, great atmosphere, and will always be number 1 for my choice of Halloween movies. It's iconic due to its characters and its score, and like I said before, it will always be the best Halloween movie. Okay, that concludes my ranking of all the Halloween movies. Let me know how you would rank the series in the comments section. Also, don't forget to check out my Facebook page, All Things Movies. I'll have a link for that in the description box. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.